Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today. What have I been doing since the last video? Well, I've been doing some cleanup work. Took my box blade and, getting those set just right is really important. Scarified and smoothed the driveway, scraped all the manure off of them, flattened them out, graded off this area where the manure piles were, just, for appearance's sake. The contractor's going to get up in here and dig a trench and mess it all up, but I like things to be nice to look at. Now the driveway just needs good rain to wash everything off and make everything clean again. But this morning I got something to do that I haven't done in probably 8 years. Never needed it. She don't look too bad underneath. It's been sitting there for a long time. Well, come on. Now you can come back. This drop pin's too big. We need a skinny one. There we go. What I have here is a very old set of drags. That's what we call them around here, drags. Some people may call them spring-tooth harrows. This one is 12 foot wide, and it's got 3 gangs on it, and it pulled behind our old H when I was a kid really well for evening out plowed ground. It's been well used, and it does have a few issues. This is the main one right here. This rail has broken. So I'm going to repair this using a method that my grandfather, I think, would be proud of. The old cotter pin. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's see here. That's pretty straight. This is 9-gauge high tensile wire. There we go, good farmer fix. I know it's a cob job, it's just temporary. I want to see how these work, and if so, if they work all right, then we can do a more permanent welding job. I think we're all set, so here we go. Hasn't fallen apart yet. You know where we're going. We're going right over here. Oh, look at this mess. Now, if I were working plowed ground, I'd probably have this lever all the way up, these down. But since I just want to smooth, I think I'm going to leave them right where they are to begin with. We'll give it a try. Plump. Hey, I like that. Doesn't make her pull much at all. Here comes a big clump. Not bad. It sure is thick on here. I really laid it on. Can't wait to see what it does to the field as far as growing this summer. I'm doing what's called dragging a pasture, even though, well, this is a hayfield and a pasture. I've never done this before. When I had the old spreader, the little spreader, I was just using that, it broke up the clods a lot better. And by the time I got to doing hay, everything was melted into the ground. It was gone, but with this new spreader, it makes bigger clods that it throws out. So some of them I figure it needs to break up for the grass not to get killed underneath. See, when you get a big thing like that, no grass is going to grow in there, so I need to spread that out. It's more common to use a chain harrow than a set of drags like I've got here to do this work, but I don't have chain harrow and I had the drags laying around, so that's what we're using. This is the only field that I'll be doing this to, just the one heavy field. I never ever drag pastures after cattle come through. Never had an issue. The cow flops, the grass, they deteriorate in the summer sun, the grass grows right through them. I don't think it's necessary. I do think it's necessary to work this new tractor though. I'm using another thing my grandfather taught me, and that's I'm doing half passes where I'm overlapping halfway onto each one so that everything gets hit twice. Die, clumps, die! Actually, I think what I'm going to do here is drag it at a right angle to the way I spread it, and that way it'll start to pull everything more even. Yep. I spread it that way, we'll drag it that way. Go through the rows. This set of drags I'm using has both good and bad memories attached to it. My grandfather used to use it after he plowed, and he always planted the lower field in corn, lower 10 acres, and I would drive the tractor while Grandpa picked rocks, and we were towing the drags. So I'm on the old Farm All H, and he's got a wooden platform on the back of the tractor that he can stand on, and then the drags are hitched to the tractor. And as we went through the field, me driving and him on the platform, I would stop when we found a big rock, and he would get off the platform, pick up the rock, and put it on the platform, and then we would start off again till the next big rock was in our way. Well, one time I stopped and he picked up a rock, and I was in second grade. I was 6 years old, as I remember. He got off and got the rock and got back on, and I hit the clutch, or I let off the clutch a little too fast, and the tractor jolted, started, and Grandpa fell backwards into the drags. And he limped after that. He only lived a couple years after that happened, but he had a limp, and as it turned out, he had a broken pelvis from that. I've always felt bad about that. This is the difference between composted manure and manure that came out of the bedding pack this year. This is composted stuff, falls in little bits back there. And then when we get up to the top of the field, I was spreading the manure out of the bedding pack from this year. See how big and clumpy it is? Same rate of spread on the whole field, but this stuff here is not broken down. Big clumps. The kids are home on spring break this week, so I took the whole family out to lunch at a Mexican restaurant. If I fall down, I don't think I'm going to be able to get back up. It's hot. Even the wind is hot. It's got to be at least 80. And it's dry. You remember what the cow's winter pasture looked like a week ago? It's pretty much bone dry now. And look at what the cows are doing. Shade from the barn. It's got this little strip by the fence. They're all clustered in the shade. These bales are always challenging. This one fell off the pile there and is this way instead of that way. Are you guys ready to have something to eat? You are, aren't you, Titus? I know you're ready to have something to eat. Howdy, porkers. You guys are all dirty. Why are you so dirty? I know why you're so dirty. They're wallowing over there next to their water tank. 'Cause it's hot. right? And you guys can't sweat. What's going on over here? This is the calf we affectionately call Pain in the Butt. Come on, Pain in the Butt. Actually, this is Carrie's calf that weaned when Carrie went to the butcher. Come on, let's go. You gotta go back in. He's a pain, she's a pain to get back in. Come on. Not too bad today. There we go. We're doing really good on hay. The cattle are only going to be on hay for a week or two before they go out, but I would guess we've got about 35 by 5 rounds left. That's a lot of hay. It's good to have a lot of hay. It's better to have a lot of hay than not enough hay, that's for sure. Hens like the shade too, and roosters. Look at the line. I think the chickens got the right idea.
I think they do. You know, their shade tree hasn't leafed out yet, so...
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Hottest day of the year so far.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go back out to the field and finish that up.
Okay. That's a good time to do it. It's going to dry it right out.
It's pretty dry out there already.
Is it? Wow. Yeah.
I talked to the contractor that's going to do the barn addition this morning, and I said, hey, it's dry here. Hint, hint. And he said he had to take care of a roof that leaks before he got here, and he's taking a week off at the end of April, so he'll either be here sometime next week to start the fill, or it'll be the beginning of May. I don't think we're in any big hurry.
No.
You know, the cattle are going to go out to pasture, and so then it can happen as it happens, and the only thing that holds up is reconfiguring the old barn for the pigs, but you know, that's not a great rush. That can happen at our own pace. Did I mention we went to a Mexican restaurant for lunch? Yeah, we went to a Mexican restaurant and I got gas. No, not that kind of gas. This kind of gas. Smells manure-y out here. I like that smell. It's kind of sweet. Back to work. Oh. What? Oh my gosh. Narrow fronts are pretty nice. I just point the front wheels right down the edge of the last pass that I did, and that puts me on a half pass, half overlapping the last pass with the drags. Yep. It's a big one. Wow. Well, see, what I did here is I started with a quarter of the field, turned back down a quarter in. That brought me to a half once I was done with my pattern here. Leaves me with half the field here, and I just screwed up. I gotta go back up here. We gotta make a turn at the top of the field here. Come down and split this in half right down here. That's about half. So we cut this in half and do our corkscrew around here, and that'll bring us all the way over to the end. You got that? There's going to be a test at the end. There will be a test. I need a cup holder. How come people in the old days didn't need cup holders? Where am I going to put it? Big one. I think I'm going to hit that again. We go the other way this time. That's better. One last big clod here. I want to get this guy. That's not that big. Yeah. That's it. Whole field, double covered. I think I'm done with manure now, having dragged that. That field, 5 acres, took me about 3 hours. I took my time, and of course there were interruptions, and filming draws things out, so I could have been done quicker. I learned a couple things today. The first is that the type of manure you're laying down on a field really makes a big difference in whether you do have to drag it or not. I'd never dragged manure before, always just left it, and the big difference, as you saw in the lower part of the field, the composted manure came out of the spreader all broken up and worked into the soil. As I said, I spread it the same rate all over the field. You could really see the difference. The fresh manure that came out of the barn this year at the top end of the field, that needed to be run over with the drags to break up some of the clods, spread at that heavier rate. And I also learned that the two spreaders I have spread very differently. The older one will break it up because it's got those 2 extra beater bars on it, but the newer one doesn't do nearly as good a job at breaking up clods. And the other thing that I learned is never ever on a hot day eat Mexican food for lunch and then go out and bounce around on a tractor all afternoon. I'll have to remember that one. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Yep, never Mexican, nope, never, never, never.